Hey, I'm Decathlon Gamer, and welcome back to PCM22 Career Mode, episode 128, also known as the series finale. Yes, this is it. This is where we will be wrapping this one up. We have two major races to get through with a glimmer of hope of one objective. We'll get to that objective in just a second, but then we will be wrapping up following those couple of races. And really, this is the last live race that we're going to be getting during that stretch, unless I get the last handful of kilometers in the other key race that we have remaining. But we're going to wrap up the season, wrap up the series, and talk about what we have in store for Pro Cycling Manager 2023, which is already out now by this point. But at the time of recording this, I have not recorded any new content for PCM23 as of yet. But here we're seeing an attack coming from some hopeful riders with 90k to go, trying to get something going a little bit further out, but they've already been reeled in and did not escape. The four-man breakaway has a 2.5 minute advantage, an advantage that was in excess of 7 minutes not that long ago, and they are definitely on their way back. But here at Lombardia, the final monument of this series, there's a lot of points on offer, and the points are the goal. The points are the objective that I have. I would love to win this particular race. Whether we win that or not, I don't know. We'll give it our best shot. We actually have a good team on order here, and you can see right now with 83k to go that there is plenty of energy for our riders. But you can see we've been chasing pretty hard as two more riders have escaped off of the front. Shockman, Simmons, very capable guys that you don't want to be giving a big advantage to, and Ineos putting their foot down because they have hopes of winning. Now, Ineos is the one that we care about, and here is why. If you didn't see the end of the last episode, what we have going for us for my final objective, it's unlikely, but we sit second in the World Tour rankings, and we sit second in the Super Prestige rankings as a team. It's Ineos who is first in each. Now, there is no threat behind us. Third place is way too far behind, but we are close to Ineos, and I would love to see us overtake them in one or both of those rankings. Now, the points on offer, the points available, will make the Super Prestige a near impossible task in what is officially 3 races to wrap up the season. One non-World Tour of affair plus this and the Tour of Guangxi. But the World Tour rankings are a different matter, and this race in particular, you win Lombardia as a monument, it's worth a lot of points. And if Ineos don't finish very high, if they finish outside of about 7th, we have a good chance, a pretty good chance of catching them and overtaking them and getting first in the World Tour. So it's one small end-of-year objective. Jorgensen, Vine, O'Connor, yeah, favorites for this type of profile. Makes sense. I want to get through these 2 climbs to set us up for the final 2 climbs, and we are going to need a couple of things. One, Terraskin, feeling it. And here's why. Terraskin crashed solo, and when he crashed solo, he was off the back, had to pursue, and that just happened about 20k ago, and he is not fully recovered. We are looking at 9 riders now off the front. 5 guys that have recently attacked, and you can see they're going to quickly leave those 4 behind. But the pace, the pursuit of Ineos, yet for now, they're doing the dirty work. Got to keep an eye on that gap, though, as now 6 are off the front. Now 5 off the front as we pull back a couple breakaway riders. Gap holds at 1:10, though, which means it's not that big. As long as it doesn't get significant, letting Ineos do the dirty work is fine by me. Peters lagging behind a little bit. He is an absolute favorite on a day like this with a +5 profile. His mountain rating is nowhere near good enough, but thanks to that +5, he's got an 85 hills and is incredibly capable in the sprint. I would love to go all in for him if we can get him over the top of the climbs that are to come. Now this big double climb, first portion is complete. Gonzalez is not significantly tired anymore. If you remember from the Giro, from La Vuelta, he was in really bad shape. He's recovered quite well. He's at a 92% fitness. He is not significantly fatigued anymore, and he still somehow drew a -4 today. You would expect a -1, maybe a -2, certainly not a -4 under the circumstances of where he sits, but it happened. He and Tereskin are going to fade. They are going to get dropped. We're going to be down to 5 riders. Our protection of Peters is about to disappear. Let's use Piccioni to now protect him. It leaves Morgado alone. We've got Azumi in good shape, but we've got to keep Peters protected, as he is a wonderful potential to win this race. 4 riders left off the front. 4 of the 5 that attacked, they are starting to split up and largely come back, as Ineos are pushing quite hard. Bernal, the one setting the tempo. He now sits up a little bit as we approach the top of this climb. Nobody's been dropped yet, 133 riders, but you can see, yeah, that's about to change. That is about to change. 95 riders get dropped. Oof. Oh man. Okay. Not how you would hope that this would go. The pace is significant and really blowing up the field. Tereskin has been dropped. Piccioni has been dropped. Peters way up the road. 16 riders behind the main 21 in the field. Morgado is a capable sprinter, so we're not going to drop him back. Martinez, Izumi. I think we're going to have to just let Peters do this thing on his own and hope that this group regains contact. It's Vingegaard. But they only have 1 rider in the 21 that are here. Off the front, going solo for the moment, is Bernal. How would he... I don't understand how he could escape like that. Peters has made it back up here. It's now 37. I'm going to have him get the water just because he's at the back, and he's got an 80 downhill anyway, so he's going to get some recovery in. Is the weakest sprinter, so Martinez is going to take over protection of Peters. Azumi and Morgado are going to ride solo, but we have 4 guys in a group of 37. Bernal is still off the front. Got to keep an eye on that one. But that is 2 Ineos riders. But now he has more help. Bosch. Gosh, they are so strong. They came with a very strong team here. And then Vingegaard. And then, of course, when we come back at Bernal, this monument is coming with some of the best riders around. Bernal has been caught. We're now looking at 37 riders and a 1.5-minute gap that is growing, not shrinking. So this is going to be it. You got 38 riders and 21K to go. We've got 2 climbs to navigate now on our way to the finish. It's the next climb where we want to be active. It's this climb that we want to survive. If there's an attack, expect responses. But right now you're looking at what appears on the surface to be attacks without response. You're seeing these guys just kind of hold position, and we're looking at 5-6 riders attacking. Krantz at the head of that. I do think that we are going to have to respond to this with Peters at the back end and then Morgado as the sprinters. And then Azumi and Martinez. Martinez is going to get used right now. He's very punchy, but this doesn't finish as a hill. Okay. Again, they set up a Gregoire now. Riccitello attacking. This is more about just not getting left behind. I am not trying to get to the front. I'm trying to set it up for the final climb. Riccitello has attacked. Martinez finds a little gap. Our position is holding here. Kind of in the middle of this pack. Down to 31. And we catch Riccitello. 16K to go. 4 more riders trying to escape off the front. Now 2 succeeding in doing so. And you can see Martinez is climbing just fine right now because this is his area. He's setting us up for what is to come. Garcia, the latest to escape. Morgado, Izumi, red bar fading. Morgado fading. Peters fading. But a good chance of recovery still to come. 26, now 22 riders. Izumi is just about fading here. And we're down to 16, 15 with one off the front. Garcia. Jojen Garcia, I believe. Right? Yes, Jojen Garcia, 81 mountains, 79 hills, 79 acceleration, but not a great sprinter. 15 riders now, and Martinez, we want to continue to proceed and move forward, but he is in great shape, and now you're seeing that red bar recovery. You're seeing these guys set up for one final climb, and 10K to go. Martinez needs to start scooting his way forward a little bit, as we need to catch Garcia before the end. And now you're seeing the next smaller guys, less strong guys, trying to chase. Now Martinez takes over that. Izumi will gel right now, and Martinez is going to go in 89. He's very punchy, he's very strong, but this is going to again take its toll on our guys. We want Peters sprinting at the end though. We're down to a group of 16. Garcia's been caught. We are at the tail end of the group, but we're trying to set our sprinter up for some chance as we approach the top end here. Martinez, now 15 riders. Morgado does not have much left in the tank here, but as we go over the top, Martinez needs to go full gas. Gel. There's Peters. All right, in the group. Tail end is Turpin, and then Forcade is too far behind. He's out of touch. But then you have Vlasov, Krantz now at the back, checking sprint capability. You've got Russell, Peters, of course, incredibly capable. Richatello, Pogacar, big threat. Morgado looks good. Johannesson is certainly capable. Vingegaard, not much of a sprinter. Izumi, you've got Garcia and Ucha the other capable. So there's like 3 other sprinters here. The strongest is Peters, but he does not have a lot left in the tank, and it's 3.6K. Martinez is now pushing to bring us forward and put Peters in a strong position. He's going to start sprinting now. He's got us forward. 1.7K. Izumi now sprinting, because this is going to be coming down to Morgado and Peters. So Morgado starts his sprint at 1.2, setting up Peters. And now 700 meters for Peters. Martinez, best position. Peters is well positioned with 800 meters. And he is the strongest sprinter. And he is going to win. Peters is going to win. And Morgado is going to grab second place. Johannesson is third. Ineos Vingegaard only grabs 8th place. We grab a 1-2, folks. First and second. Yes. And Izumi is 5th. And Martinez is 6th. Folks, we just smashed a Grand Slam. Oh, wow. That's a huge home run for this team. Huge home run. A 1-2 finish. 5th and 6th to go with it. And Ineos only grab 8th place. And their next place rider is nowhere to be seen. That is massive. I was talking about them being outside of the top 7, but I was talking about us winning and them getting outside of the top 7, not including us also grabbing 2nd, 5th, and 6th place to go with it. That is huge points, and we are in play. We've won this monument. Peters is in play for potentially taking the individual haul for the year. He was 3rd in the individual points. Man, oh man, let's check in and see how things are now looking. Outside of winning the Giro, I think that might be the biggest victory we have had in this entire series, and we save it for the final live race that we will conduct, or at least the final major live race, Tour of Guangxi. We'll see how things turn out after this huge result for us, because Ineos is going to get minimal points And we are not only getting maximum points, but we are exceeding that with the 3 additional riders, with, in particular, the 1-2. That is a massive points haul. Let's go check on the rankings as of right now. Peters moves up a spot, but Pogacar is just too strong to overcome. So Peters is now second in the World Tour rankings. So individually, that part hasn't come together. Morgado moves up 3 spots to 7th in the rankings after claiming second in the race. And Martinez moves up a spot to 11th in the individual rankings. That's a really good sign that all 3 of them have moved up at least 1 spot, meaning, oh yeah, it's a lot of points. It's a lot of points. Vingegaard took 7th and managed to move up 3 spots. It's a really good sign on the individual side. On the Super Prestige, Peters now 4th ahead of Gloag, who just won La Vuelta. Morgado moves up into the top 10 in 8th, and Martinez is 12th in the Super Prestige. Again, a very good sign. There was less Super Prestige points available comparatively to the World Tour points, though, and the gap was a little bit further, so I do worry about where we're at as a team. In terms of victories, individually, Peters, his 8th victory of the year, is now 12th in that department. As a team, we have eclipsed Ineos in the World Tour rankings. Just like that, we have 1 race remaining, and we have an over 600 point advantage over Ineos with now 12,652. So we have succeeded in the World Tour rankings, but of course there are still technically 2 races left on the calendar. We'll have to see what transpires with those, if we can hold on to our newfound position. But what about the Super Prestige? That was going to be a much harder one to do, but we have had this massive points haul. I'm guessing we're still in second, but very close now. Sure enough, that is exactly the case. We have closed that gap significantly now, just 303 points behind Ineos, who have just eclipsed the 8,000 mark. We are now well ahead, 900 points ahead of Lotto Soudal at 3rd place. Okay. I think we're also inching in on our record score. Last year was actually a better year in some regards, but also partially because we've done so much quick sim this season compared to last season, so results aren't quite as good as playing everything out live. But still, you want to go down fighting, and going down fighting we are, with a massive Lombardia. Regardless of what happens in those last couple of races, that has been huge for us. Paris Tour Elite is the minor race that we have. It's a sprint, 1 HC level, so it's worth a decent amount of Super Prestige points. The Paris Tour Sprint has not resulted in anything profound for us or against us, as both Ineos and ourselves have been left essentially scoreless on this one. On the Tour of Guangxi, the final race of the year. For the 6 stages of the Tour of Guangxi, 5 of them are sprint stages, and there is 1 4K punchy final climb, and we are bringing Peters to this race because we have a shot, and I'm going for it. It's 1 race, we might as well shoot for the stars. The overall, so Super Prestige is what we're down to. We now have the lead in the World Tour rankings. I think Ineos can be beaten. Final standings, 240 for the Super Prestige. Remember, we're 307 behind. But you figure they're going to be placed somewhere, right? They're going to pick up some points. So that's already not enough. Best climber? Well, there's really only the 1 climb, so winning that stage could be worth significant points. Points classification. Peters is absolutely capable of potentially winning that one. That's worth another 40 points. Classification on time, stage, 10 points. Provisional. Or having the leader stage by stage. I think that's what it is. You're leading after stage 1. You're wearing the jersey. That's worth 10 points. I believe that's what it is. KOM jersey worth 3 points. Points classification jersey worth 3 points. But classification on time, stage results, 40, 25, 15. I'll tell you right now, we're 2 stages in. We just got a 3rd place, so that was 15 points gained. So we're less than 300 behind right now. Peters has won stage 3. That's a big haul of points. There's 40 right there, and we're starting to get in that touching distance. And There's been absolutely no sign of Ineos as a sprint threat. I don't know what they're going to be like as a punchy threat. We will play out that 4K climb on that key stage. Unfortunately, there's more races besides just Tour of Guangxi on the calendar. There's just not for us. Ineos have gone up and picked up some points elsewhere. And so even with the success we've had so far in the Tour of Guangxi, it's not enough. We find ourselves now 309 points. So we're actually 2 points more than we were at the start of the race, even though we have picked up 55 points already up to this point. We're going to have to pick up some more. It's going to be awfully tight. But the Tour of Guangxi is the biggest points that remain on the calendar, and we've still got a few stages to go. Next up is that punchy stage. We're going to need to claim the overall victory, and of course our best hope is with Peters because of the sprint stages. But even then, he can go out and win some sprint stages and not necessarily win the overall if we get it with a teammate. But he's pretty punchy, so we'll hope that he's got good race day condition. We'll try to ride for him as he sits high in the GC standings at this point because of the sprints. Final 9K on that decisive stage. Pidcock and Sivakov are here for Ineos. We haven't seen Ineos in any substantial state in the race as of yet, but today is the day where they can move themselves into a strong GC position, so let's hope. And we'll keep an eye out that they don't succeed at doing anything. And we set ourselves up for the 4K climb by getting ourselves out front. That's the key here, is being in that front position, not necessarily destroying the field in any sizable way, as Guzman is now out of energy with 4.6. So Vandenberg is going to take over, and we're going to start gelling up on the back end. We're up there, but we're not all the way up there. There is still very much a threat of others behind. Need a new one, I think, soon. Okay, so Vandenberg's going to take over, and I think we're going to have to push even harder here. He's got a -3 today, so his race day condition sucks. But we're already at the base of the climb, and that means we're going to have to get into the punchy guys here. Vandenberg is not very punchy, but he's keeping us out front by going 99, and it's really not making others dig deep. But now, with 2.6K to go, it's time for Mikkels, who's a bit punchier, to get going. And Vandenberg will kind of slot in behind a little bit. But right now, yeah, you can see we are very well placed. Now, Mikkels at a 99 is going hard enough to hurt Peters just a little bit, which means we want to back off to about a... actually, no, we're going to keep going because McKellar is done. We're going to be down a rider here in a moment. Mikkels is going to open a gap and can go clear and maybe do something. But Ponemar is going to take over. Here come the other guys. 99, give me an acceleration to set up Hoggins behind you. There you go. And on to 1K for Hoggins. 1K for Hoggins. Going 99, setting up his teammate. There we go. 400 meters, Peters, to sprint from here. He's got 84 hills. He's got his 82 acceleration, and he is going to go win the stage and pick up the 10-second time bonus and finish 6 seconds ahead of Verhelst. Ineos Sivakov gets 5th on the stage, so he will be well placed, but we're looking at no time bonuses for these guys and no time losses. Peters is picking up the time bonus. Ineos is not grabbing any time bonuses. GC-wise, how many other sprinters are still here, though? That's going to be important on what the overall standings look like. Sivakov, though, is the one we got to watch out for how highly placed is he. Tullet, Daniel, and Ben, 18th and 20th for Ineos, for the next highest placed. They've been nowhere in the sprints, so how many sprinters manage to grab same time is, I think, the important thing here for what the GC is going to look like. But it's definitely Peters on top, and he picks up another 40 points for today's stage victory. Hoggins was also 4th. Mikkels was 10th. GC, that's the important one right now. Peters has taken the overall race lead from Salazar, and nowhere near. Look at all those guys still with little time bonuses here and there. But I don't have subsequent teammates with little time bonuses of their own. There's Mickles, but Ineos is not in the standings at all. Ben Tollet is 23rd. Hayter is 26th. Vandenberg actually still has a chance to move up the standings a little bit. But Ineos do not feature in the standings whatsoever with 2 stages to go. And Johannes Peters leads the overall. We've got a chance, folks. We've got a chance. Stage 5 has seen Peters miss out on points and miss out on the top 3. And unfortunately, 2 guys behind us have stolen our position in the top 3. Ineos is still nowhere near, but we're down to 3rd. Peters has work to do in this final stage. I think I might have to manage that one personally to see this through. All other races on the calendar are now complete, and this final day of racing has set us up for this. Ineos, we've overtaken them in the World Tour rankings. They will not catch us, especially with Peters finishing in the top 3 for this race. But in the Super Prestige, it is still Ineos on top. But the gap is smaller. We are now 256 points behind. 256 is the gap. So 256 is the gap. 240 is the points for the overall race win. But points go way, way down to 35th place. So there are other points out there available. Ineos, though, did not feature in the top 10, 15, 16 whatsoever. So let's assume we can pick up about 200 if we can win the overall. But that means Peters is also going to have to win the stage. That would make it 240. What are we behind? 256. Means we're going to need somebody else to also place and add a few more points. But best climber classification, points. Classification is another place where if we take the stage, that's another 40 points if he moves into the lead for the overall points classification. Or if he gets second, that's 25. We need to aim for victory on this stage for sure. Okay, we are starting right from the beginning of the stage. We will not show the whole stage, but it's not just about what happens at the finish line. There is something substantial that can happen near the start of this race, and that is 9 kilometers in. We have a sprint. 3 points available, and we are after that points jersey for the extra, but also 3 seconds, 2 seconds, and 1 second available. So we're after getting Peters both 3 seconds and 3 points right off the bat here to help with that position. But not just Peters. I want to get Mickles and Vandenberg across second and third if possible to pick up a few seconds, because we already saw that a few seconds can put them higher up the standings and give us some additional points. We'll look to see who could use those 2 seconds and 1 second. They've got to be in that just behind, well placed, with 1 to 2 seconds, moving them up 15 spots and giving them a few points of super prestige. So we are going for every last little super prestige point we can earn in today's final race day of, well, not just the year, but the entire series. So we're going to start with a hard push at the front. Peters already in position. Guzman. Also just 30 seconds down. It looks like everybody ended up just getting same time on the stage, even though there were certainly some splits. And we didn't get that 6-second advantage at the front either. We should have gotten that. We would still be in the race lead. Anyway. Vandenberg is up here. He is also just 30 seconds down. So, and it's 5K out. I don't need the others. Huggins, McKellar. They're just going to try to get onto the back. Sprint harder. 1K. Here goes Peters. I want Vandenberg to... Actually, there we go. Peters, Mikkels, Vandenberg. 1, 2, 3. Points classification. Peters is 23 points behind. Just 20 available at the finish. Wow, that's a lot. Boy, that's rough to try to get him that first place. We're going to need to go after the other intermediate sprints as well. We've got 46K to go. We can't let a... We're going to have to control this today. We're going to have to control this. But those 3 seconds, Peters was 4 seconds down, so he's now 1 second behind. And Tollett in the break. We don't want him picking up bonus seconds. So we... Oh, man. Okay. How do we want to do this? Those guys are going to... We don't want Tollett getting bonus seconds. That's going to move him up into 10th place or something along those lines. So Ponemar... Because any bonus seconds that they take is going to harm our overall. Now we still have not caught Tollett, by the way. He's still up there. It's okay if other teams ultimately gain something, but we are just about done reeling in Tollett here. There we go. Back off a lot, but keep the pressure on. Okay, minute 14 down, 30 seconds down, 30 seconds down, but not Ineos riders. I can let those guys escape a little bit. And they're going to take those points. All right, let's recover. Let's proceed down the road. We'll see what happens before that Cat 3, and if we're in position to maybe go after that one. And certainly make sure we're not in position to give up anything to Ineos. 53K to go, and it was something that felt out of reach just a moment ago, and it's suddenly starting to feel in reach. We want to get every point we can get. Here's where we're at on the King of the Mountains situation. Peters is 4th in the classification, but he's also just 2 points off of winning that. 3 points would win that anyway. We've got a Cat 3 with 3 points available at the top. These guys were 2.5 minutes ahead just a moment ago, and all of a sudden it's down to 1.5 minutes, and with a little bit of climbing to come, we know we've got a punchy enough guy. We're gonna go for it here. Minute 42. Now, there's only 3 positions here, so getting any points at all in this, you have to overtake those 3 guys, which means we're gonna have to push really hard. And the front 3 for now are going really deep to try to hold us off. Really deep. And now we're starting to pull them back. They only had so much in the tank. Suddenly the gap is coming down as we're going through this flat area. So McKellar is going to take over. Ponemar follow behind it. And it's down to a 1 minute gap. And coming down quickly, McKellar. Still 5K to go on the climb, but it's not much of a climb. But we're going to slow it down. 30 seconds. 30 seconds now. This is not about getting away or anything. This is entirely about 3.5K. Entirely about setting Peters and Hoggins up to get some points here. 2.8K. Hoggins is going to take over, and we've caught them, and we've split the field. Salazar is here. He's a terrible climber, but he's here. This is going to hurt him a lot for later. 600 meters. Okay. Peters, you're going to go through. Huggins, we want to follow. And McKellar to follow that. Boom! Peters wins the King of the Mountains classification. There's an extra, I don't know, 40 points. And Ineos is... They got somebody up there. About 6th, I saw. Now, we have a sprint point coming up. Do we want to go pick up some more seconds? Do we want to go pick up a few more points? I don't think so. Don't think so. I don't think we want to waste that. We're going to set up now. The field is a minute behind, but Cataneo continues on. If they continue on, I don't see why we wouldn't at some point say McKellar. No. Huggins contribute. And McKellar protect Peters. Potomar has very little left in the tank here, and we've used him up. But the other 3 comfortably in the not Peloton. There's now just 20 riders chasing. They're each 30 seconds, so they can follow Peters through if we can get a 1, 2, 3 here. So 1.4, McKellar's going to start the sprint, and Huggins is going to follow. And then we want Peters to overtake just before the end. So Peters is going to sprint now, and McKellar is going to follow. Or not. I don't know who went through first there, but Peters now on 75. He's now just 21 points behind. Yes. The win is 20, but that's 3 additional seconds for all 3 of them. And they've separated from the other 3, but we'll set up and let those guys come back. The 22 are also coming back. We'll set up. Now it's at 24, 17. They've got teammates here, so they want us to contribute, but it's coming back together with the group of 22. And now we have 28. A minute 12 up the road, and this at 27K remaining is something where you want to put somebody into it, like Guzman, to contribute at the front and keep this away from the rest of the groups. Ponomar's too weak. He needs to gel up and do whatever he can the rest of the way. We don't want to lose riders, as we have all these guys that are now suddenly placed in the top 10 kind of thing. But protect Peters. Guzman, gel, 23K. Gap holding at about 35 seconds. Nobody else contributing right now. Gonna have to get the next guy up here before too long. 20K. So McKellar just gained time. Huggins just gained time. Mikkels and Vandenberg all just gained time. So how do you set that up? You save Vandenberg to support Peters for the sprint. But getting up there, yeah, Guzman is already like, come through, please. It's coming back together. 57 riders now at the front. Less guys losing time. But actually, it's not a terrible thing if there's... It's not all bad if you got guys coming back together. Reason being, you don't want Ineos moving up the standings and picking up needless points. Now you've got another team involved, and we're down to 12K. And we've got enough still for a lead out, but it's got to wait a little bit. 10K. 9K. Okay, it's time. That's our 5. Yes, that is. Huggins. We don't want to use up the last of that yellow bar. 6K. speeding up just a little bit, and then we're going to get Huggins to the back end of this. I think that's where we're going to stop at 5K out. Keller, same thing, 94 for him. Huggins, just don't lose time, bud. 4.5. 4K. Big acceleration coming out of here. Ooh, gels. A little late for the gels. Should have done that about 1.5 K ago. 3K out now. Keller's got a good flat rating. He's given us a good lead. He has got very little left in the tank, though. So at 2.3, Mickles is going to start his move, and Keller's going to just try to follow and relax a little bit. 1.6, sprinting. Inside the last K, Vandenberg. We are very well placed here. 600 meters with that much red bar. We are only being contested by a single rider. It's not an Ineos rider. Vandenberg's going to win the stage. Einhorn, then Peters. But Einhorn was not the threat. So, Peters is not going to win the points classification, but that's probably enough for second. But we get first, third, and fourth. Huge points haul. Peters has enough seconds to win the overall. Vandenberg's going to gain 10 additional seconds and move up a lot. And Ineos is nowhere near the front of the field. We might have done it. We might have done it. Confirmation of 3 riders in the top 4 standings for the stage. That alone is already worth something like 60 points. And then the overall, Peters is going to get that max 240, and Vandenberg jumps to 5th in the overall. So that's an additional, 100 points or something. Ineos is nowhere near the top of the standings, nowhere in the top 16, but McKellar, Mickles, and Huggins have all picked up a couple of seconds and moved up into 12th, 13th, and 14th to add a few extra points. We're looking at close to 400 points here, and Ineos is not grabbing any. Then there's the points classification. Peters is second. That's going to be an additional, 25 points or so. KOM. Peters has won it. That's an additional 40 points. The other 25s, I don't think we get points for that or the team classification. But my, oh my, have we picked up a whole slew of points in those couple stages that we took control of. Folks, I think that was enough. Peters is still second in the World Tour rankings. That hasn't changed. But there it is, the World Tour rankings. We extended to an over 1,000-point victory. But what about the Super Prestige? That was the one that was still in play. This is now the final rankings for the year, folks. Everything is now final. That was the final race. Let's start with the individual. Peters, second. Morgado, 7th. Martinez, 11th in the final World Tour rankings. In the Super Prestige, Peters has jumped Pogačar by 8 points to win the individual rankings in the Super Prestige. Johannes Peters. Let's look at Johannes Peters and what type of racer he is, who has just claimed the rankings in the Super Prestige. He's got a 71 mountain. He is only in 81 hills. That's very good, but that's not elite. 80 sprint. That is very good, but that is not elite. 75 flat, 74 stamina, 80 resistance, 80 acceleration. He is a very, very good puncher/sprinter. But nothing about that profile suggests that this guy should be dominating. 5.5 stars. Making 24K a month. 16 career victories. What did he just get to for this season? He was on 8. He just claimed the overall, but not the stage. So 9 victories for the year. More than half of his career victories. But his world ranking is first. He's participated in 6 monuments. He has now won 2 monuments. We know he just won Lombardia, but he won one other at some point. So he got a double this year. I don't think it was this year that he got the other one. He won the KOM at Tirreno Adriatico. He won San Sebastian. And then these 2 races. That's his 2027 season. He's got other victories. I'm guessing that they are individual stages. on a number of races. Crow Race didn't have a stage win early in the year. Tirreno Adriatico. He won 2 stages at Tirreno Adriatico, 2 punchy stages. Vuelta Andalusia won a stage. Tour of Turkey of Antalya, 2 stage victories and the points classification. Saudi Tour had a stage victory. He had a lot of stage victories early in the season, but not overalls. Santos Tour of Down Under, he took 4th in the overall and 2nd in the under 25s. 2nd on stage number 4, not the Wollonga Hill stage, the other punchy stage. But that's it, folks. 3 classic victories, but this Tour of Guangxi, 2 stage victories and the overall, and we pulled it together. 2nd in the points, by the way, is what he ended up getting. 11 victories for the year is what the grand total ended up being. There you go. 16 overall for his career. So he had just 5 wins prior to this year. World Tour rankings 2nd. Morgado 8th. Martinez 12th, Piccioni 31st, Mikkels 40th, Tarskid 67th, Izumi 75th, Hagens 83rd, and Vandenberg 91st. McKellar just missing the top 100 at 103, but that is a full team effort, folks. In terms of victories, Peters with 11 jumps up to 6th, but it's not victories. It was comprehensive team effort again and again that made us successful. On to the team rankings, where we confirmed 13,300 points, crushing Ineos over the last couple weeks of the season to claim the World Tour rankings victory. Continental B&B was on top, but here we go. Moment of truth, Super Prestige. We have done it. By more than 100 points, we have done it. From 850 down with a week to go in the season, week and a half to go in the season, we come out on top, crushing it at the Tour of Guangxi, and we have won the Super Prestige rankings. We are the best team of the year. I would have liked to have won more Grand Tours. Only getting the one, that hurts. But here's the thing. We have lost our best rider. We've lost our key GC guy every single season for, 5 years in a row? It's only a 6-year playthrough. This is the end of season 6, and we have lost our best rider at least 4 years in a row, possibly 5 years in a row. That was like 4 years ago now, and that was the Giro victory. That was a weak Giro, and he was in perfect form. The field just gets deeper and deeper with the database, and we keep losing our best rider. And so we have gotten deeper, we've gotten stronger, and for the first time, our team index has us placed 5th for next season. We haven't been top 10, or maybe we were 9th this year, so we're getting better, but we are again losing our best rider entering next season. Winning the Grand Tours, just a little beyond our reach. Had podiums, we just had 2nd at La Vuelta. I would have liked to have had more Grand Tour victories. But all in all, very successful 6 seasons with this team on a difficult challenge with tough finances. We've endured, we've done well, we've managed things in a very strong way. And in the very, very, very end, we come away with a couple big victories in Lombardia and in the World Tour and Super Prestige team rankings and the individual Super Prestige rankings. With Johannes Peters, who's just a 80-81 hills sprinter kind of guy. We've managed to turn that into a pretty comprehensive end of season performance to come out on top. That is going to do it for this episode and this series. Thank you for tuning in with me, and I hope that you are enjoying the new PCM23 content as well. I'm not going to have a regular career mode series for PCM23, or at least not anytime soon. We are going to have my Dragons series implemented in whichever continent won the poll. At the time of this, I just put that poll out this day, so I have not seen the results of it as of yet, but we will conduct our Build a Continent series like the Dragons one for PCM23. I will also have just a limited Pro Cyclist one, as Pro Cyclist mode got the more significant upgrades for the year, though let's be honest, none of the upgrades for the year have been particularly stimulating. It's been a very, very weak year in terms of upgrades. There have been some welcome upgrades to the game. All are quite minor. And as I predicted previously, I do think behind the scenes, it's because they are actively working already on next year's main upgrade, which is an overhaul to the graphics engine. And with a new graphics engine in place and seeing that taking place, that's a substantial thing to put in. That with a team their size, they couldn't just do it in one cycle. It's a multi-cycle thing. And by being a multi-cycle thing, it meant we got minor upgrades for the year. So I'm going to go with the path of they are forgiven, and I can't wait for PCM24. But in the meantime, we're not going to not play PCM23. I want to see those upgrades. So we are moving on to a new series. Plus, after 128 episodes, those of you that are here, which is still more than 500 an episode, which is awesome, and ultimately I think will translate to more than 1,000 in the end. That's a good number for Pro Cycling Manager. That's a good number. That's not a bad number at all. And I thank you for being here and being a part of this journey. But the 500 or the eventual 1,000 of you that are tuning into this, it's not new audience. It's the same audience coming back episode after episode after episode. And the only way to turn that into something larger is by continuing on and playing PCM23, by turning that one into 750 and 1,500 for next year, or turning it into 1,000 and 2,000 for next year. I have to refresh. It's a must. So as much as I know many of you would like me to just keep right on playing this one and say skip PCM23 entirely, that is not a path towards growing the channel. And as much as 500 views and 1,000 views are nice, actual like what that translates to in terms of the time and effort that I put in and affecting pocket change, I get maybe $1 a video. That's it. That's all. Here's a quick thing for you as I wrap this up. How YouTube, how the algorithm works, and how the pay structure is. If you don't sit through 30 seconds of a video, of an ad, I get nothing. I get absolutely nothing for that. YouTube's still getting paid, but for me, you have to actually sit through 30 seconds of a video before I receive anything, and then all it ends up being is a penny. I don't know exactly how it all translates, how it all works out, but it's very little. If you want to see your favorite YouTuber actually earn some income, it takes many, many thousands of views, but it takes viewers like you sucking it up, sitting through 30 seconds, and at the 32-second mark, hit skip. I try really hard to do that for the other videos. I sit and watch YouTube a lot as well. I don't just put out content. I am also a consumer of content. I try to always get to that 32-second mark before I hit skip. Anyway, thank you for tuning in. I'm Decathlon Gamer. One final time for this series, like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see you next time. Have a good one. Be safe out there. And bye for now.